6 weeks ago, my husband, the love of my life, my rock, sat down and said he needed to talk to me. Long story short, he is not happy and wants a divorce.
When I got pregnant with my daughter, my husband started in immediately telling me that I should have a home birth. I was 36 weeks at that point. So when I went into labor, I was 39 weeks, and I begged and absolutely begged my husband to take me to the hospital where my doctor was. He wouldn't. He spoke to me condescendingly, called the doula instead. I was in labor for about 3 days. Active labor for around the last 22 hours.
Jesus Christ.
I cried the whole time.
Hello fam, how are you all doing? Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. The video coming up is about a lady telling a story on how her husband that she's been together with for a couple of years woke up one day and told her he was no longer interested in the marriage and he wanted out because he wasn't happy. She could not believe her eyes. She could not believe what the man told her. And she kept asking the man, what does she do? He should give her a reason for that. She was reflecting on the whole relationship. She just couldn't come up with any reason because to her, she did not cheat. She didn't lie. She could not understand why the man was making such a decision. Let's hear her story.
Okay, this is my first time getting on here. I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. 6 weeks ago, my husband, the love of my life, my rock, sat down and said he needed to talk to me. Long story short, he is not happy and wants a divorce. It's been 6 weeks. There's no way I would have been able to talk about this or even do this 6 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. I've been a complete mess, but I'm getting stronger now. And I want to document this and maybe help somebody else that's going through the same thing because it is miserable. So he tells me that he isn't happy and wants a divorce. That's all. He doesn't give me explanations of why or what. I mean, we were in process of building a new home and moving to a small town. When I mean in the process, I mean everything was done. The architecturals, the design, everything was done. We were waiting for probably one more week. We would have permits and we would have broken ground. We had just put a deposit on a bucket list trip to Italy for 2025. We, 2 days prior, sat down with a good friends of ours to put the finishing touches on a trip that we took with them every single year to the races in Sonoma. I mean, we're making grocery lists. He's sitting there watching me making grocery lists, knowing that he wants a divorce? What the hell? Anyways, he told me this and I was so devastated. I screamed, I cried, I begged, I pleaded, please give me a chance. Give me a chance. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't steal. I wasn't perfect. I nagged. I did things that are not divorce worthy. But when you're a man that does not stand up for yourself ever, when you're a man that keeps every single emotion inside and pretends that everything is hunky-dory, everything's great, how long can you do that for before you explode? And that's exactly what he did. He let himself explode and threw me in the garbage can. That's how I felt. Exactly. I have given everything to this guy. Taken care of him, loved him. I would have wiped his ass if I needed to as we got older. All that we've been working for the last 5 years is for our retirement and to travel and to do fun things together. We retired a year and a half ago. We paid off our house. We got rid of any debt we had, and we retired. And now he wants a divorce. Shock. I've never been shocked like this in my entire life. And I've been through breakups. I've been through shit. And I've never had feelings like this. So stay tuned. I will be journaling on here. I guess that's the best way to put it, in hopes that I can get some of these feelings and emotions out, and that maybe there'll be some people that can learn from my mistakes, because I made mistakes. Yeah, you'll hear about those mistakes. But hopefully we can create some support for each other on here. Okay? Have a good.
Listening to her story, it's clear how blindsided she felt. Imagine being in her shoes, planning future, working towards shared dreams, and discovering out of nowhere that the person you've trusted, the one you've built this life with, is ready to walk away without any explanation. It's painful to think about it, especially when he's kept everything bottled in. According to her, he was never expressing his dissatisfaction. Right now, she's left to process not just the shock of his decision, but the feeling that she was completely in the dark. She making plans while he silently decided it was over. The sad truth is, this is not an isolated incident. I've heard countless stories like this. Women pouring their hearts into relationships, thinking everything is fine, only to be blindsided by their partners, deciding they no longer want to be part of it. To be honest with you, most of the time when men make such move, it's often about someone else, another woman. There's a high probability that the man has already moved on with someone else. It's really hard to notice how quickly some men can walk away from a relationship when they feel like it's no longer serving them, when they feel like they are no longer getting what they want from it. Especially when so much of what they wanted is tied to physical attraction and emotional fulfillment. It's as though once the novelty wears off, once the woman's body doesn't excite them anymore as it used to in the past, or once they feel emotionally drained, they're willing to walk off. They're willing to walk away and move on. And in many cases, when men find someone else and they're willing to move on, they quickly forget that woman that was there for them, that woman that gave them everything when no one was there with them or for them. Being in a relationship with a man can be very unpredictable. Sometimes it does feel like no matter what you do, whatever you do is not enough for them, because it's not about what you do. If they want to leave, they will leave. Taking it back to her story once more, the truth is that it wasn't about her. It wasn't about what she did or what she didn't do. It was more about the man, about his insecurities, his lack of communication, and the emotional toll that comes with it. I'm being pushed to call the man an ingrate, but I wouldn't do that because I don't really know what the dynamic of the relationship was. This is just the woman telling her own side of the story. It's very important for men and women to be open and honest in relationships. And when those are missing, it creates the kind of pain we heard in her story. Someone bottling things in, not expressing his feelings, not talking about his dissatisfaction, and then exploding on their partner with a tough decision. It's really unfair. Her story is a reminder that relationships can be very unpredictable, and sometimes the person you thought you knew, that spouse you thought you knew, is not really who you thought they were.
When I got pregnant with my daughter, my husband started in immediately telling me that I should have a home birth. I really don't know why he was so adamant on it, but he just was. At first, I brushed him off and told him I would think about it because I was only 6 weeks pregnant and the birth seemed so far off. Of course, it came quickly, and my husband would literally speak over at me at doctor's appointments when my doctors would ask me if I had a birth plan. This caused a few arguments between us in those 39 weeks of pregnancy, but I never really changed my mind. Eventually, my husband's mother sat down and talked to me, and she told me all of the reasons why they did not want me to go to the hospital for the birth. I expressed my concerns about, safety of the baby and myself, but just like my husband, she brushed me off. I ended up telling my husband that I would like to take myself to the hospital when it was time, and that and that I did not want a home birth. He acted as if he didn't hear me. We met with a doula who was also very pushy. I felt overwhelmed and not supported at all. I was 36 weeks at that point. So when I went into labor, I was 39 weeks, and I begged and absolutely begged my husband to take me to the hospital where my doctor was. He wouldn't. He spoke to me condescendingly, called the doula instead. I was in labor for about 3 days. Active labor for around the last 22 hours.
Jesus Christ.
I cried the whole time.
Oh, Lord.
I just felt something was wrong. I was scared, and oftentimes they left me alone. When she was finally out, I don't remember wanting to hold her. I just remember crying out in relief. On my first appointment after my birth with my doctor, she was very shocked that I had the baby. She was concerned. I was so upset. I told my husband that he absolutely ruined it for me. I truly never want to go through that again. I hear mothers say that they forget all the pain the second that they have the baby, but I didn't. I love my daughter so much, but it was horrible, and it was entirely his fault. So I told him that several times. He rolls his eyes every time and tells me how mothers are strong and how I am not trying to be strong. I told him that if we ever have another baby, which he wants, that I will never do a home birth ever again. His response was, "We'll see."
Oh, God.
I could not possibly be the asshole here, can I? Everyone around me is acting like this is so normal, but it's not, is it?
This woman was completely ignored and dismissed when it came to a decision about her own body. This isn't just a disagreement about where the baby should be born, but is about her right to make decisions for herself. It's her body, her health, and her pain. She was clearly the one going through it, not her husband. Yet he made the decisions for her without listening to her concerns or her wishes. It's heartbreaking to think, instead of the man to be her support system, he treated her like her voice didn't matter. The lady said she begged to be taken to the hospital where she felt the safest. But instead of the husband to hear her out, he was condescending and he dismissed her. According to her story, he ruined the experience for her. Of course he did. He did ruin it. It was a traumatic one. Being in labor for 3 days and with the fear of your safety, I wonder how she coped in that situation. And after everything, the husband refused to acknowledge his wrongdoings. His attitude is a perfect example of how a lot of men out there feel like they have the right to control a woman's body and make decisions for her, even when it affects her health and well-being. When it comes to childbirth, no one knows what's best for a woman's body except her. I know you might think, or maybe the doctor, but know this, everyone's pregnancy is different. The woman is always the one going through the pain and the one at risk. It's her choice, and no one, especially not her husband or anyone else, has the right to take that away from her. The mother-in-law's role was disheartening. You would think as a woman who's been through childbirth, she would understand and stand by the lady in this vulnerable moment. But what did she do? She joined her son. She supported his controlling mindset. The fact that the mother-in-law did not stand up for the lady shows how deeply these gender rules can run. How some women, even those who have experienced childbirth themselves, can still enforce harmful ideas and believe that men should control women, even in situations like this. This isn't just about one man's decision. It's a reflection on how family dynamics can shape the outdated beliefs about power and authority. It's a painful reminder to us women that sometimes the people who should support us, especially other women, can reinforce these damaging patterns instead of saying no to it and breaking them.
So let me tell y'all about the time I dated a guy who hated me. This was like back in 2019, and I was dating a guy who was a bit younger than me, roughly 5 years younger to be exact. Well, after we had been dating for a while, I let him move in with me. I know, bad decision on my part, but I had let him stay with me, and prior to all of that, he had introduced me to all of his friends. Well, when his friends first met me, they thought that I was very beautiful. They thought I was very smart and strong and wise and all kinds of great things. But I noticed that anytime I would try to accept a compliment, he'll be like, "Oh, I already said it for you." Or if I was in their presence and they gave me a compliment, he never looked happy, like he wasn't proud at the fact that they were complimenting me. I don't know, I guess he thought they were trying to get with me or something. I don't know. But anytime something exciting happened, or if I accomplished something, or I would tell him about something I was passionate about, he just seemed like he didn't care. And he would say, "Oh, that's good," but it was never genuine. But one thing I noticed was throughout our relationship, he always tried to do things to humble me. I noticed that he would say things like, okay, simmer down, simmer down. I would love to dress nice anywhere I went. So if we were going somewhere, even to the gas station, he would be like, just wear what you have on. I would have on like a pair of pajamas and a shirt with no bra. And when I tell you, he would hate it when I would be like, hey, let me put on something more presentable. He'll be like, no, just go the way you are. And he would even insist on me getting out of the car. Anybody who knows me personally, you know that I don't like going anywhere looking like just anything. I don't have to always be a Barbie, but I want to at least look presentable. But it seemed like he was always trying to make me look bad. So when we eventually broke up, I started to look back on those moments and be like, you know what? I'm grateful that this is over. So if you're a guy or a girl or whatever, and you have a partner that's always trying to humble you, they don't like you. Heck, they may even be secretly jealous. Who knows? But if they are like that, run.
Sometimes when you're dating somebody who secretly hates you, they will make remarks about the way you look, let's say your style, your makeup, your hair, or one of your body parts. At first, it comes off as concern. While it starts off as if they're concerned, they'll say, oh, babe, I'm concerned about your weight, or I'm concerned about your belly, or whatever. And as time goes on, you start to feel that you constantly have to defend yourself and defend the way you look, or defend the way you style yourself or your fashion or whatever it is. Because now it has switched up and this person is now being nasty and making nasty remarks and being sarcastic about the way you look. When somebody you love starts to say these things to you, you also start to question yourself and question the way you look or the way you do your makeup or whatever it is. And what this does is that it lowers your self-esteem and it lowers your confidence. And sometimes you might change the way you look or you might change your style because they are constantly complaining. And even when you do this, they still find something else to complain about. When you call them out on this, they say, I care about you, that's why I'm like this. When somebody truly loves you, they won't come for your looks, your fashion, or whatever it is in a negative way. Instead, they will recommend something in a positive way or buy you something or make suggestions in a better way instead of making nasty remarks and making a joke about the way you look.
That was a woman talking about the toxic behavior of a man who claims to love her but consistently undermines her. From the moment she started dating that man, there were clear warning signs. He didn't seem to care about her accomplishment or her self-worth. In fact, he made a point of always belittling her, always trying to humble her when she did something great, or even when she had a nice outfit on. His behavior shows a complete lack of genuine love and respect, in my own opinion. In a real loving relationship, your partner should uplift you. He should celebrate your wins and encourage you to be your best self. But in her case, what was he doing? He did the opposite. He wanted to keep her small, insecure, and never let her shine in front of others. The jealousy and the lack of support he showed were clear indicators that he wasn't motivated by love, but he was motivated by control, and a lot of men are this way. These clips we just watched, they tie back to the stories, the clips we saw at the beginning of this video. The man who abruptly wanted a divorce without explanation. To me, that man didn't love her, because if he did, he would have communicated with her and worked through the problems together. You might ask, how did I know he never tried? I believe if he did, probably she would have mentioned it. She wouldn't have been as shocked as she was in the video, because from her story, it sounded as though everything was okay and he just threw that bomb on her. The way he discarded her without a second thought shows he wasn't really into her. He didn't love her. The husband in the childbirth situation also didn't care about the wife's well-being. If he truly loved her, he would have listened when she expressed her concern for safety and comfort. But no, what did he do? He dismissed her. What all these situations have in common is this: fake love. It's not real love if it's not being reciprocated, if it's not built on respect, communication, and support. These men weren't interested in supporting their partners. They were only focused on controlling them or not even caring at all. In relationships, love is not about control or manipulation. It's about being there for each other, especially when things get tough. It's more about listening to your partner, respecting their decisions, and helping them grow. So ladies, if you're with someone who constantly makes you feel less than, or disregards your voice, it's time for you to ask yourself, is this really love, or is it just someone trying to control you? Sweetheart, you deserve more than that. If you'd love to watch more videos like this, click this video to watch how some men don't appreciate women's unpaid labor, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.